Okay, great. Everybody hearing me? Good. So, hello guys, I'm Christian from KLUCKNER Entertainment based in Munich, and I decided to do some things a bit different to the other lectures. First of all, I think I will be the only one who will show a little trailer for an actual game, and I will not throw any marketing in your face, and and I will not throw any statistics in your face, which may be obvious anyway. But I'd rather tell you the story of the game Happy Hills that we developed last year, and of how it came to be our first freemium game and what the challenges were. So KLUCKNER Entertainment was founded in 2006. We are doing different games since 5 years now, and we are not focusing on mobile exactly. We started to do mobile and we started browser because the landscape changed. We could not do many more PC games by then, and so we adopted our games and genres to the new platforms. So that's where we released developed more than 10 titles on more than 5 different platforms until now. Yeah, Demolition Legend and Happy Hills were both done for mobile last year. We did it with our publisher DreamFab, who also is based in Bavaria. And the couple other games which you can see here are browser games, which we also are going to do mobile extensions for one or the other. I think that will get very exciting because, like we hear here yesterday and this day, it's going to be more and more connected more and more connections between mobile and browser games. So, but now to the game Happy Hills. What we of course saw during the last year is that the landscape changed, or the monetization principles changed for the app stores a lot, but of course not every developer is able to change his own model that he planned like from one day to the next. So it may be obvious to have some numbers which say you can earn a lot more money with in-game purchase than with paid download, but we cannot say, but our game has no game design for in-app purchase, so let's just do it. And so we had to take a different approach and try to get the most out of it. That's what my talk will be about mostly. But to start with, I will show you a little trailer so that you can imagine what this game is about. I hope this works. I hope it is not too loud, by the way. Maybe you will have to turn down the volume a bit. Or turn it up. Or don't hear it at all. So it's a game about, it's a physics puzzle game in which you have to blow some blocks down from some hills. The Happy Hills, they're only happy when there are no angry blocks on them, and the mechanics mostly focus on the different styles of blocks and environment which they can interact with. So, for example, there are blocks that can freeze and freeze water. There are blocks who can burn, and there are blocks who get only hot and can set other blocks on fire and stuff like that. So lots of different physics interactions which make the game, I think, a very fun experience. But it was, like I already said, it was planned as a paid download, like the game we did before that had no in-app purchase at all. And Happy Hills wasn't planned to have any in-app purchase at the day we started developing it. So we had to come up with something during the last weeks of development. It was released. Oh, this is one of the burning wooden blocks, by the way. Yeah, these are not actual figures, but we said, hey, what should we do? We had this discussion with our publisher, to be honest. We said, how should we release the game? Should we make a tier 1 app for 99 cents and then maybe the revenue will be X? Or should we make the game more expensive? Or maybe less people will download it, but maybe the revenue could be the same. or we make it free to play. People will buy the stuff, the in-game items or additional content. But we also didn't know how big the revenue would be. It could have been the same however we did it. So that's something that we didn't know. We only knew that the models were changing towards in-app purchase and away from the typical paid download. And we knew if we could not get the in-game, the paid app, or the in-game purchase revenue that we desired, we would at least reach a lot more people when we made the game for free. So, and I put the advertisement possibility too on the sheet, but I think you cannot guess before you release a game, before you do cross-promotion or something like that, how big the effect would be on the other game. So that was just one thing to consider for us. If we reach more people, then we will have a bigger effect for the portfolio of our publisher, regardless to how big the revenue would be for the in-app purchase. So the game was released in September last year, and I think in July, or in June at least, we did not have any idea how to put the in-app purchase into the game, and the only thing we already knew was that we are going to put more level packs into the game. The game consists of stages, like the grassland and the desert, and later there was the Arctis. And these level packs should be a paid download. If you can buy them in the game and unlock it. So the problem was, most of the players didn't even get to the point where they were asked if they would like to buy some new level packs, or they stopped playing before they reached the point, or they already had enough levels to begin with, and so they didn't need any more. So this was a problem that we did not consider in the first place. But then we did a first update, which came in October. No, sorry, the first update which came in October included the next level packs. Only the second update really included another in-game item, and it was called the Happy Bomb. And the big difference between this in-app purchase and the content that we delivered was that the Happy Bombs allow you to be faster, to use more bombs and maybe reach the next level faster, because you do not run out of bombs and do not have to try a second or a third time. So yeah, that's why we put in this in-game items. It was the first in-game item that was really buyable. Later in December, we improved the game another time, and we added the possibility to skip levels. Just say to a player, hey, if you don't want to play this level, if you don't like it, or if you cannot solve it, whatever it be, use a level skip. It was a special in-game items which just allowed you to advance to the next level. And then at the same time we started to switch to the paid download, because we noticed that we did not have enough in-game purchasable content, so that we would make more money if we say, okay, let's mix these two up. But now, just yesterday, I think another update came. It's not on the slide, where we additionally included a paid and a free app. So we also tried this approach. We divided the two models, and now you can have a light version or a free version with teaser levels, where you can play different sorts of levels from each of the stages, from desert and from grassland and so on. And you can pay for the levels you want to play, which you like more. You can have more of those content if you say, okay, I like this stage, give me more of this. And you can do that in the new update right now. And I think that only now, like nearly a half a year after the initial release of the game, we have reached a a status of the game where we could say this would be the ideal moment to release the game. But we released it already 6 months ago, so maybe that would be a good basis to release it on Android now. That's what we might gonna do during the next few weeks. But that's up to our publisher. Yeah, it's just that we think if we would have known then what we know now, we would have done it a bit differently, because I think we lost a lot of paying customers on the way. Maybe the ones that would have paid for the game in the first place, because initially it was free, and there are lots of people who would have paid for it just to have it. Then we lost those who might have played the game farther if they had the level skip or the bombs mechanisms from the start, because they just didn't solve enough levels to reach the later ones. So that was the second problem. And there were lots of little things that I think which just led to losing paying customers over the course of the time we sold the app. That's a balloon block who can fly. And this graph shows the impact of the happy bomb, which was the first time-saving object that we sold. It shows that the revenue graph goes up. That just underlines what I said before. I think people don't really need more content. They'd rather need more time. I mean, that may be obvious, but then we knew it in our face that it's really better to provide possibilities to cut down the time you need to play through a game. So this is you already know that from a lot of talks before mine. The revenue for freemium games and for in-app purchase went up a lot during the last year, and of course we noticed that by the time we already had to finish the game, we could not say, okay, let's do it again, or let's construct the design around this model because it was so far into the development. But it was obvious, and for the next game we are going to do, we took that into account, and we made a design that is focused around the freemium model and around the in-app purchase. So in this case, we had to ask the question, what in-app content is really monetizing well and what is not. And of course, there are some different categories. I would say it's the content only on the one hand, like I told you before, the level packs or additional in-game items, maybe just things to show off or to dress your avatar in. That may be just content, and there are some people who like that and others but that don't. But functionality, I think that's the key to in-game monetizing. Consumables on one hand that you have to replenish, because you say, okay, I pay a few bucks and get like 10 or 20 potions or items that I can use once. But if they run out and I want to play again, or I want to play farther, then I have to spend more money. But I don't have to. Yeah? It's just the way a player likes to spend his money. It's due to his own pacing. If I only give him content, he has to unlock it at a certain stage. And maybe he will say, if I want to play now, I have to buy this content. I cannot play farther if I don't. But if I only give the player in-game items and consumables, he don't really have the need to buy it, and he might not feel so cheated in this way. Yeah, and there's also the service and subscription model, which is discussed a lot, but I can't really think of a good example which uses that to a good extent. I only know that Apple banished the first game on the App Store, which tried to do a subscription or some kind of service. And the freezing block. And there it is, a good example for in-app purchase. It's, of course, Tiny Tower. I chose that one because they put the figures out. And as you can see, it made 50 times the amount of revenue that all their paid apps combined made. And yeah, you can do the math. If they have 7 million downloads and made 5% conversion rate, then I think that's a good deal of money when the RPU is about $10. So yeah, this underlines what I meant before when I said that we discussed the different pricing, or the freemium versus the paid app model. Any way you do it, you will always have rather more players download your game and you reach more audience, but they might spend less. But in the case of Tiny Towers, they had different price points, or different amounts of money which different demographics spend on the game, and you see, of course, how the revenue is made up in comparison to the purchase. And I also like the quotation of David Marsh, who said that if it's not free, you have to compete with a lot of other free games out there. And I think that might be the reason why we said, okay, if we do another iOS or Android game, we have to do it the same way and try to figure out the best possible in-app monetization that we can in order to reach the most audience we can get by putting out the game for free. That's a screenshot from the next game we are going to do. I will not tell you anything more about it, but I can tell you that we use a lot of our research, or a lot of our analysis data. We put Flurry into the game, and we are just analyzing all the data we got from that. So that's really important that you figure out why. Can you hear me? I will just continue. It's really important that you. Thanks. That's because I'm the last one here, and they already want me to leave the room, I guess. Now, yeah, the analysis data, it's important that you know why the players stop your game, why they stop at a certain level or at a certain playtime. So I think that are stats which are very important, or that you try to figure out when the player begins to monetize, when he's going to use an in-app purchase the first time, and so on and so forth. So that's really important to get these data into your next game design. And of course, learn from past mistakes. That's always obvious, but I think the more important point is that you can always do things differently, but you should do them intentionally and not just differently. So that will be our approach to our next game, and I hope we'll have good success with this one. So I think I'm good in time. And thank you for your, I don't know the English word for it.
Thank you, Christian. That was great stuff. And so we're going to try and see if we can get some questions. Okay, guys, last session of the day. I know there's beer waiting soon, but do we have any questions out there? Come on, you can do it. I'll ask a quick one. I know you want your beer, but the question I have, obviously, we were involved in freemium games ourselves, and we've seen a really dramatic effect for having a social value. So from the data we see is where people have an object where they can show some capacity, so show their achievements in the way that they purchase. That has a really important part to play, and it can be done really well, and it can be done really badly. Are you seeing any of the social elements yet, or is that something you're not focusing on just yet?
No, we're definitely considering the social components. So we put that into Happy Hills, obviously, but we'll definitely put some social features into our next games. So I think that's it's not the most important part from our perspective, because I think the players who do monetize very well, do not have to be the socializing kind. You know, it's if you compare it with the talk yesterday from Richard Bartle, he also said socializers they like to hang around and talk to people, but they don't monetize the same way. But as always, you reach more. You have the viral effects. You should not leave that to the players itself, but support it. And we definitely do some of the features in our next game. So then I think if there are no more questions, Oscar is going to conclude.
I'll do a quick sum up. So last chance for a question. Okay, so let's try and kind of do a bit of a recap.